let's talk about the undrafted free agents the Bengals signed. Logan, you have this take on all these offensive line. Tell me about Seth McLaughlin.
Man, he's been pretty solid for a long time. I mean, he's never been really great. He's never been really bad. But, when you're looking at the center position, I think that's a lot of, kind of sounds boring, but it's kind of just what you look for. You don't really look for a guy that has, ups and downs. You don't really look for a guy that is, one day good, one day bad. You look for a guy that can really be solid, that can be consistent, that can be reliable.
That could be a Remington Award winner.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and that's what you're getting with him. I mean, everything's about average with him. Bless you. His pass blocking grade sat between a 66 and a 77. For his whole collegiate career, he's a rock solid player. If he wasn't nursing an injury, he's probably drafted in the draft. He's their Ohio State guy. They had to get one in somewhere. Now he's going to be everybody's feel-good story, and he's a solid player. I don't know what the path for him necessarily is. I don't know if he'll probably be placed on the pub list.
He says he'll be healthy by July.
But that's still it might just be better for him to go on the pub list.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, he's an exciting pickup. The path to making the roster, for anybody, is just I feel pretty thin because we sign Lucas Patrick, we bring back. Cody Ford, like we've done so many times. But all in all, for just a pure UDFA, Seth McLaughlin is a pretty good one. If I said, if the injury wasn't there, I'd be a lot more excited. But he probably would have been drafted at that point.
Was there any undrafted free agent that stood out to you guys? Howard Cross stood out to me, obviously being a New Jersey native, but also being a guy that helped anchor the Notre Dame defensive line for Al Golden. I was kind of shocked but not too shocked that he went undrafted.
Mm-hmm.
But was there any undrafted free agent that stood out to y'all?
Oh man, I mean it's from the Bengals perspective, nothing super exciting. I like the Duke receiver Jalen Moore, I believe is his first name, but again, I don't know what they're going to do at receiver. I don't see too many of these guys that have a major path to making the roster outside of Howard Cross and Gregory, the Arkansas DT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But again, I guess they hate defensive tackles, so it's weird. Like I like the overall talent that they brought in. I also really like the BYU offensive lineman. He's another massive dude. But again, the talent is good. The talent is there. Just the path to being on the roster for a lot of them isn't as clear. Like I said, I think the clear ones is Cross and Gregory. But then again, they're not great either. It's just it's a good class, all things considered. But in terms of purely making the roster, I don't know how many of them I'd see doing so.
Yeah, I think the only other one I would probably say, like you said, is probably Eric Gregory. I mean, when you look at the rest of these guys, obviously they got Peyton Thorne, the quarterback. They've got some of these other ones. I know rookie minicamp is also coming up. Yeah. But I think the ones, if we're talking making an actual roster, the likely spot is defensive tackle, right? Howard Cross. Eric Gregory was good, and I think the fact that, he was – I believe a 6-year player at Arkansas, 4-year starter. Like this is a guy who has the experience, at one of the bigger schools. And that's probably the position that you would need best, right? Because if you look at the defensive line, Slayton's brought in to be a big run stuffing guy. But if he were to go down, it's Chris Jenkins, but is undersized, right? 290, 300 pounds. So I would say Gregory is the one that kind of has realistic expectation to actually make it, but I do think that Seth McLaughlin is one that I'm definitely very, very, very interested in.
They also I don't think he qualifies as a UDFA, but they did bring over that one dude from Germany or whatever. That kind of been doing these last few years. No defensive tackle. Yeah. So I think they're even kind of pointing out at the fact that if anybody's gonna make the roster, it's gonna be one of these DTs that we picked up off the street.
Yeah.